right, so let's go ahead and kick things off. First and foremost, I gotta say this as a disclaimer: I'm not a licensed financial advisor to giving financial advice. I read the news, give my opinion, share a suggestion, and it is up to you to make an informed, intelligent decision on whatever direction you want to go into. Since I've been in the crypto space, I will add this: if there's 4 rules I live by to be in crypto or investing, period. Rule number 1: education is key. Education is everything. And as we are moving now into the new year, you definitely, I can't stress the must need for financial education. And if you're in a situation where you don't have it, send me a private message and I'll point you in the right direction to get education. Number 2, never invest money you cannot afford to lose. Number 3, always get your return on investment back as fast as possible. And rule number 4, where do you see yourself in 3 months, 6 months, a year from now? What are you willing to do to make that happen? Make a decision, find a vehicle, take action, stay focused, do not get distracted. Now, following these rules is not going to guarantee you success, but it will at least minimize your risk. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the most that we're going to ask for. Now, once a year, I do a special training on the secret. I have a separate business that's called the Mindset Business Coach, that I am very big on personal development and self-improvement. In fact, that is the most important thing as far as I'm concerned to having success. You know, people ask, where should I put my focus on? Where should I put my energy? On my company, on my product, you know, and I always will respond back on your mindset, on personal development. And a lot of times people have no idea what that means. They don't know what I'm talking about. And it means so much to me that the 10 years ago is when I had my breakthrough. And I'm going to talk about my breakthrough and started to have that success. And the first half of those first 10 years, I spent a lot of time. If you go to my YouTube channel, I've got thousands of videos, millions of views. And most of those videos in the early days had to do with personal development and self-improvement. The last 5 years, I have not been talking about it so much so. And the reason why is because one of my 7-figure mentors told me, said, Brandon, it's great that you are excited that you finally figured it out and that you have a desire to want to go out there and tell everybody and teach the world. But to be honest with you, not everybody's qualified to get this information. And even if they were to get it, they don't even know what to do with it. So you're basically wasting your time. You're only listening to yourself speak. And I didn't understand it when he first told me that. But as the years went on and I'm able to observe people, I fully understand now why the secret is so secret. Why that individuals like Les Brown, Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, they all teach pieces of it, but they don't call it the secret. And the reason why they do it this way is because they know that most people are not mentally ready to receive this information and what to do with it. And he used me as an example. He said, Brandon, we taught you this stuff for 10 years and you didn't get it. It took you 10 years to finally have your aha moments. So now when I teach on this, it's a privilege. This is information that the elite talk and teach to each other. But they don't really give it out to the masses because the masses aren't really ready for it. So once a year, I teach on this, and I'm doing something different this year. I do have past recordings on YouTube, but this is the first time I'm doing it with the camera on. You know, my early videos, I used to do it with nice soft music playing in the background that you could fall asleep to and all that good stuff. And then a couple of years ago, I would do it through Zoom, but without the camera on, just audio. And a lot of times that's because when I start talking about this, I go into a zone and I'm not thinking about what I'm about to say. And I like to get up and walk around and pace, and I'm always doing something. So this time I'm doing it with the camera on, and I'm breaking out of my own comfort zone of being comfortable in front of the camera. You know, I can stand on stages all day long, but I see myself right now and it kind of throws me off. So if I'm not looking directly at the camera as we begin, you know, don't take it anything personal. I'm just having a conversation and the camera just happens to be on. So saying all that, are we ready to go? I train by telling stories. We are now at the end of 2019, which also signifies the end of a decade. Now, technically, the new decade doesn't begin until January 2021, technically. But perception-wise, this is the new decade. 2020 is a new decade. And a lot of people take this time of year to reflect, not only on what they've accomplished over the past year, but what have they accomplished over the past 10 years, the last decade. And for most people, they don't have a very good feeling about it. They have a very bad feeling about it. They're like, man, the last decade sucked. As a matter of fact, 2019, a lot of you think 2019 was out here to kill us, right? Had a horrible 2019. Things didn't go as planned. You know, I can't wait to get out of 2019. But you know what? If you don't change the mindset, 2020 is going to be exactly like 2019. It's called the rat race. Doing the same thing over and over again, yet expecting a different result. So what this call is about is first giving you awareness that you know there is something different you must do if you want to have more out of life, if you want to move to the next level. You can't grow more until you yourself have changed. So coming to that realization for most people is very difficult because they're looking at 2019 sucked. Nothing went right. And I'm speaking for myself. Every year I do a crypto talk, the secret talk, I say, when you go into the new year, 9 times out of 10, you're going to end the year completely different than where you began. And this has been so true for the last 3 years for me. Whenever I began a new year with all of my goals and my ideas and my focus on where I want to be and the vehicles I'm going to use to get there, by the end of the year, I was completely in a different area that I didn't even imagine. I couldn't even contemplate before the year began. But what keeps me going is the fact that I had goals set. The goals never changed. The destination never changed. The only thing that changed is the vehicle on how I'm going to get there. And you have to be flexible enough to know when to change those vehicles. It took me a long time to understand that. But let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to know where you want to go in the future. You've got to be aware. You've got to be conscious. And you have to be accepting of where you are right now. Without regret, without what's the word I want to use? Regret's a good word. Or judgment upon yourself, because it's in the past. And where you are can be changed. It's temporary. A friend of mine has me listening to Dr. Miles Monroe, and some of the things that he's been saying, I'm also going to share in this because it goes in line with what I believe. As is Monday morning, most of you woke up today with it dark outside. And you rushed off to rush hour traffic to go for a job you don't like, to work with people you can't stand, to eat lunch at 12 when you're hungry at 11, to ask for permission to go to the bathroom as if you are a child. Knowing that you're going to do this for the next 40 years of your life, expecting a different result, but you're going to retire broke depending on family, government, and friends by the age of 65 years old. That is not my opinion. That is a government statistic. No more 401k, no more savings, no more retirement. Social Security is a joke. 2008 wiped out everybody's finances. You're living in a home you don't own. You're getting older every single year. You're not getting a raise on your job. Your kids are getting more expensive. The bills are piling up. The economy says it's doing great, but you don't feel it personally. Unemployment rate is at the lowest it's ever been, yet most people are still broke, living paycheck to paycheck. The average American doesn't even have $1,000 in their savings account. The average American couldn't afford a $400 emergency if it hit them right now. Yet we live in the richest country in the world, where the land of opportunity. And that is the key there, opportunity. Most people have this mindset that they believe things should be given to them, that they deserve something without having to put in the work. But when we look at the word work, my grandfather taught me all the time that said, look, no matter what you do, be the best at it, the hardest working at it. If you're going to be a street sweeper, be the best street sweeper. If you're going to be the train conductor, be the best train conductor. If you're going to be the elevator operator, and it's curious using that term because my grandfather, think about the era he lived in with this skin color. He said street sweeper. He said train operator and elevator operator. Really? Because for people who look like me, those were the only things they were allowed to really do in those days. But he said, be the best that you could possibly be, no matter what you do. Be the hardest worker. Here's something that I realized. The hardest working people in the world are the brokest. You want to see hard workers, come to Central Valley in California, and you're driving through the farm fields, and you look at the people working out there. Ain't nobody working harder than that underneath that sun. People who work from sun up to sundown, busting their tail for minimum wage. I learned that if you want to be successful, it's about working smarter, not harder. It's just that we're trained to be working hard at the wrong thing. We're taught that we must go to school, get a good grade, get a good, safe, secure job, a job that will take care of us for the rest of our lives. And that is a lie. That is a joke. It's only worked for 1.5 generations. The greatest generation, my grandparents, and then the baby boomers, partly. And they're coming to that realization right now, as they're in retirement age, that old plan ain't working out too well for them right now. And they're hurting. My generation, I did everything I was supposed to do. Got good grades. I graduated from Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. But I got laid off. How many of you have ever been laid off before? Yeah? And if you've been lucky enough not to get laid off, you're putting in more time, more hours, more effort, hoping that you're going to get a raise, and you're not. You're going to retire broke. Those are the ones that make it. So I realized that if I want to have a different life, if I want to go down a different path, then I must make different decisions that's not taught to me in school, and I decided to become an entrepreneur. I attended a meeting in Atlanta, Georgia, November 1998. It was a meeting for ACN. I still remember the presenter's name. His name was Darren Elijah. And then and he wasn't even the top of the company. He was what's called a team coordinator, and the regional vice president was Sam Oram. 1998. This is 21 years ago. I remember it like it yesterday. It was cold. There was snowing. I'm from California. We're not used to that. My partner, Robert Brown, came to pick me up. He had a 2-door car and had 4 of us in it. We all packed up in there. Went down to that hotel meeting down in College Park, and I heard something I'd never heard before. Instead of trading time for money, leveraging other people. That was a concept I had never been taught before. I was taught if I want to make money, I got to work a lot of jobs and a lot of hours. But what happens if you get sick? What happens if you get laid off? What happens if you cannot perform? Then you no longer have an income coming in. But what if you have 100 people in your organization? And out of those 100, only 10% get sick for whatever reason. You still have 90% income coming in, residual income. I thought you had to be a rapper, a singer, or an actor to get that. I never heard of that concept before. Then after the meeting, I met the regional vice president, Sam Oram, and he pulled out a check. It was for $10,000+ that he made for the week. See, in those days in ACN, we got paid 5 times a month. Once for your residual income a month, and then weekly checks for your bonuses. It was a bonus. His weekly bonus was $10,000. And I'm like, I'm going to school for what? So I got started thinking I'm going to get rich, right? It didn't work out that way. As a matter of fact, I failed for my first 10 years. I never lost the dream. I failed. But I am an overachiever. So when I got started, I said, I want to be the best presenter. I want to know this company like the back of my hand. I want to be better than the guy on the stage, because I saw people on stage giving a presentation, stuttering over words, messing up everything, didn't know the numbers, and that person's making $10,000 plus a month. If they can do it, I know I can. But I was focusing on the wrong thing. And I was spinning my wheels and I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, man, I can't get people to sign up with me. See, back in those days, my biggest issue was I can't build a team. I don't have anybody to talk to. I didn't really know marketing skills. I'm talking to relatives. I'm talking to friends and family. They're running from me when they see me coming because they know I'm going to pitch them on something. How do I meet you? I remember, this is one of my lowest points. Montclair Mall here in California. I remember getting up one day, going to the food court. I put on a little suit, and I had all the paraphernalia from my company, and I had it laid out on the table, and I was literally talking to people who walked past, getting them to sit down with me for a couple. I had girls that did that, but it was for different reasons. But ain't nobody signed up, and I sat there all day trying to find new people. So after failing and thinking that I did everything, attending every training, every presentation, every event, traveling around the country, the year was, I got laid off, what was this, 2008, which is interesting. I wish I learned about Bitcoin at that point. 2008 or 9 it was. I think 2008. I got laid off. I'm at home. I'm like, I got a college degree. I've got a family to take care of. I've been doing this thing for years and not having success. You look into the mirror and you say, what did I do wrong? What could I have done differently? The mindset. It was the fall of that year. There's two things that I did. I was involved in network marketing all this to this point. I read a book called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. And I listened to an audio series called Your Wish is Your Command by Kevin Trudeau. Now, Kevin Trudeau's a con artist. He's a con artist, though, that has information, that's secret information. Is he still in jail? So I don't care about him individually, the information that he had. And when I went through that information, it's like a light bulb went off in my head. And I got it. I got it. And from that point on, my business exploded. It's like I figured out the puzzle. I had already read Think and Grow Rich. I even read by Napoleon Hill. I read Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice by Dennis Kimbrough. I've written all How to Be a Leader, the John Maxwell book, John C. Maxwell. I've listened to all, in those early days, Tony Robbins and Les Brown were the most influential in my life as far as personal development listening. Now it's Jim Rohn. But back then, because they were like motivating, I had to keep motivating myself because things weren't happening right. I had to hype myself up. I don't need that anymore today. But in those early days, I still never got it. But I was at a point in my life where I said I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Obviously what I'm doing, the way I'm thinking is not working. Let me finally try it their way. And this is the hardest thing for men to do. So what was it that I got? The secret is about the laws of the universe. I got to be very careful what I say here because, again, most of you are not qualified to hear this information. So I've got to say this a certain way. It's written in the Bible. It's actually every single self-development or guru shares this, but you don't know what you're hearing. Like, for example, did you know Think and Grow Rich is watered down? Think and Grow Rich is like the 4th version. The original version that was written up Henry Ford had pulled off of the shelves. Why? Because the original version gave away the secret. Do you want to know what that secret is? I'm going to tell you what up front. I'm not going to wait till the end to tell you it. I'm going to tell you up front, and then we're going to go forward. The secret is feelings. Feelings. That's the secret. Emotions. Your ability to manage your feelings and emotions, and then your ability to manipulate that to trick your brain. Think and Grow Rich had the word feelings in it all the time, and Henry Ford had him rewrite it and take all that stuff out. You want to know why Rhonda Byrd's movie video, The Secret, failed for most people? It gave all the information, but it lacked emphasis on one thing. Feelings. It's like, your wish is your command. If I say I want more money, then the universe is just going to bring it to me. No, it's not. Just because you are saying it, you want to manifest it. Yes, the universe answers your call, but it doesn't answer from the mouth. It answers from the brain. It answers from the heart. Your emotions. Here's an example. Do you know who thinks about money the most? Do you know who talks about money the most? Is it rich people or broke people? My original answer to that was rich people. I thought rich people, all they think about is money all day. All they want to do is, what, I want to buy this, I want to buy that, blah, blah, blah. They're money hungry, they're grubby. That's not correct. See, I can speak from experience. I've been on the side of no money and money and no money again and money. When you have money, your day-to-day is not thinking about money. It's thinking about quality of life. Where do I want to go today? What country do I want to visit? What beach do I want to go to? What store do I want to shop at? See, broke people think about money differently. Broke people are always thinking about money negatively. Broke people are like, dang, I got to pay rent at the end of the month. How am I going to do it? I go to the grocery store, I got to check the price on everything. Can I afford it? Let me get the generic brand. I can't afford this, I can't afford that. What do you think? Money grows on trees? We have a mentality of money as scarcity. So what happens is, it's like Pavlov's dog. You ring the dinner bell, the dog automatically thinks it's dinner time. With poor people, you hear the word money, they're automatically thinking negative about money. They're automatically thinking that, dang, I don't have enough of it. So you already are having a negative vibration when it comes to money. And when I say feelings, the other word for feelings is vibration. It's the word vibration that was also taken out of the book. What does that mean, vibrating? You're vibrating at a specific frequency. See, the laws of the universe, everything is vibrating. This pillow is vibrating at a frequency. If you look at the science of it, the atoms really is nothing solid. There's just so much of it that my hand hits it. But really, it's nothing. It's just atoms. Everything vibrates at a frequency. And frequencies, like a magnet, can attract like-minded frequencies to itself. So if you are vibrating at a negative frequency, you're going to attract to you negative frequencies that match it. You ever wonder why they say birds of a feather flock together? Or you look at your 5 closest friends and your income is probably around the same as theirs. You know, Henry Ford said something very important when they tried to put him on trial and make him seem like he was stupid because he never got a I don't even know if he graduated from high school. We're talking about one of the richest men on the planet ever, Henry Ford. And in an effort in court, and there were all these lawyers there that had their degrees and everything, and they were asking him questions, and he couldn't answer the question. They're like, you're so stupid, you have all this money, you got it by luck and whatnot. They said, if you didn't have any money, you'd starve to death. What would you do if you didn't have any money, Mr. Ford? You know what he said to them? I would go and hang out with where all the rich people are. And I just hang out with him because he understood vibration. He wanted to pick up that energy onto himself. And then when he got tired of them asking him stupid questions, he said, I don't need to know the answer to these questions. I'll just hire somebody like you to answer the questions for me. But let's get back to the key there of vibration. Where are you currently vibrating at in life right now? See, when I had my aha moment, I was taught that, especially for men, we have tunnel vision. We only focus on what we can see. But there's things happening in the universe that we can't see, that we can't control, that's going to impact our lives. We look at life like a telescope or a magnifying glass. Have you ever looked at an anthill before? And with a magnifying glass. So you only see the ants within that circle. But the colony is vast. So what the ants are doing over there is affecting the ants over here and there. You don't see them on your magnifying glass. This is how we go through life. We're looking at life through a magnifying glass, not realizing that what we do, we're attracting things outside of this that's going to impact our little sphere of influence. Once we change our influence here, it's going to change everything around. And it's going to bounce back. You're going to attract to you. There's several illustrations of this. When I was a kid, I got chicken pox. I think I was 4 or 5 years old. I remember this. And I remember my mom had me in a tub of, what is that, calamine lotion or whatever. And then she put socks on my hands so I couldn't scratch myself. And then right before bed, she always taught us to pray. And she said, all right, pray, thank the Lord for healing you. I said, what? She said, thank the Lord for healing you. I said, yeah, Mom, when I feel better, I'll thank the Lord for making me better. She said, no. You have to ask for it and be grateful that it has already happened before it happens, because the Lord will make it so. Now, to a 4 or 5-year-old kid, that made absolutely no sense to me. What she was telling me was the laws of the universe. The Bible preaches on this. But science actually made the Bible true. It's quantifiable. It's measurable. Your soul is measurable. Science has proven it. What the Bible's always been saying. You know what they say? Walk by faith, not by sight. What does that mean? It means there's things you can't see that's going to impact you. Here's something that Dr. Miles Monroe said. Most people view problems in their life as crisis. And we move from one crisis to another. The saying I always say is not what happens to you that's important, it's how you respond to things that happen in your life that makes the most difference. Because we have 24 hours in a day. Everybody goes through the same 24 hours. You can have 2 people work a job. Both individuals lose that job. One person's happy for it, the other person is devastated by it. What does that mean? Let's say those 2 people say, I want a better life. I want a better job. I'm praying for something better. So the Lord answers the prayer, but not the way you think. The Lord answers a prayer where you go to work and now you got fired. And one person says, Lord, what in the world? I asked for a better situation and you just made my situation worse. I just lost my job. I already wasn't able to survive on what I had. Now I really can't survive. And how does that make him feel? Where is he vibrating at this moment? The second person says, thank you, Lord, for eliminating this issue in my life. And now that person got a different job interview, gets a better job, paying more money than the one he had. But he would have never got that job if he didn't get laid off from the one he had. So we got one guy trying to hold on to the old. We've got the other guy that's accepting of the new, that doesn't see it as a crisis, sees it as an opportunity. Did you know in Asia, in Chinese and in Japanese, there is no translation for the word crisis? Crisis to them means opportunity. You know why wealthy people always stay wealthy no matter what happens with the economy or crisis? Because they always find an opportunity in setbacks. Well, that didn't work. Let me see, what opportunity can I gain from that? What did I learn from that experience? It's all experience-based. This is something that broke people don't understand. Let me give you another illustration. This one is for you women. Have you ever met somebody that is always in a bad relationship? No matter who she's dating, it could be the same dude, just a different name. Always in a bad relationship. And her friends finally say, you know what, maybe you need to see a therapist. Maybe it might be something about you. Here's my cousin, Marnita. I was just talking about you. Marnita, you're going to have to go back and watch this from the beginning. So she goes and sees a therapist. And the therapist says, all right, why are you here? And she says, I'm always in a bad relationship. And I'm tired of it. So the therapist says, okay, what is it that you want from a man? She says, well, that's easy. No, I don't want a man that doesn't have a job. I don't want a man that even if he has a job, you know, after work goes off and hangs out with the boys all day. I don't want a man that's always at the clubs. I don't want a man that's always at the bars drinking. I don't want a man that's always putting me down. I don't want a man that's negative to me. I don't want a man that disrespects me in front of my children. I don't want a man that is always, you know, talking bad about me and might be verbally or physically abusive. Doesn't that make sense? Who wants a man like that? But she says, you didn't answer my question. She says, what do you mean? She says, before I tell you, how does what you just said make you feel? Horrible! Makes me feel bad. Makes me feel depressed. Sometimes it makes me feel suicidal. It's interesting. You didn't answer my question. I asked, what is it that you want in a man? And you answered all the things that you don't want, which means, what are you focusing on all the time? So answer it the right way. Well, I want a man that can provide for the family. I want a man that loves spending time with us. I want a man that cherishes me. I want a man that loves me. I want a man that loves my children. I want a man that I can talk to, that will listen. Great, how does that make you feel? Fantastic, it makes me feel good. Great, hold that feeling. Because if that is what you're focusing on, that is what you're going to attract to you. Why do broke people stay broke? Because they're always focusing on money, the lack of, therefore they're always going to keep attracting the lack of in their life. What was I focusing on in my business? How come I can't get people to sign up? How come I can't get people to come to a presentation? How come this isn't happening? And guess what I was attracting to me? More of that. Why? Because your brain does not understand negative or positive. It only understands how you feel, and it will vibrate that out to the universe. Therefore, like a magnet, you will attract whatever your brain is vibrating. That's the secret. You must learn the ability to trick your brain. And I'm going to give you, before I end this, a series of things that you can do. So once I figured that out, and I had that shift in my mindset back in 2009, all the skills that I learned for the previous 10 years, all of a sudden things started to work. People started saying yes. my business started to explode. I started to learn more new skills now that I understood this part of it. Learning other skills came easy, and I've been able to apply. That doesn't mean life has been kumbaya ever since then. Quite the contrary. Life is about peaks and valleys. It's seasonal. Whatever crisis you think you're going through is temporary. There are some things you cannot control. And this again, I'm talking about Dr. Miles Monroe. The key is when you're in your ups, doing enough so that when you're in your lows, you're still stable. Here's a personal example. 2017 and half of 18, I had a phenomenal year. Phenomenal in crypto. Then I ran into the valley. The second half of 2018 and all of 2019. Yeah, I'm one of those like, was 2019 trying to kill me? But because of what I did in 2017 and 18 on the highs, I was able to survive the challenges of 2019. You see what I'm saying here? It doesn't mean I'm immune from any challenges. I'm immune from any crisis. We all go through it. It's life. There's things you can't control. But what matters is how you respond to it during those times. Because that crisis is seasonal. Your success is going to be dependent on your ability to outlast it. And then you go back in your highs again. But expect you're going to have lows. And it's not always financial. It can even be personal. It could be in relationships. It could be in health reasons that this all works. Let me move forward. For those of you who say, you know, I cannot recruit people, or I can't recruit good people. I want to have a superstar on my team. How come I can't sign up to superstar? Here's one reason why. It's because you're not a superstar. Remember that old saying, birds of a feather flock together? Winners do not hang out with losers. Winners hang out with winners. Winners are attracted to other winners. Well, that's easy. Brandon, you sponsor so many people because it's you. Of course. You know what I hear all the time? Anytime I do anything new and I enroll 70, 500, 200 people, look, yeah, that's Brandon, you got to follow him. How do you think I got there? It didn't just happen overnight. I went 10 years, I couldn't recruit my dog to save my life. I had all the knowledge. I could do presentations better than the owner of the company. How did I do it? It's because I don't recruit, I attract. How do you attract? How do you become an attractive person? And I'm not talking about on the outside. I mean, I tell women all the time, if I was a half decent looking female or woman, knowing what I know, I would make $1 million a month. There's a certain natural power that a woman has. Only problem is 90% of women in this industry don't utilize it. They don't realize it. Only a few do. That's a whole nother topic for another day. Here's what you do. The first thing you do is you get up, you go into the bathroom, or you look yourself in the mirror. And when you look yourself in the mirror, ask yourself this question. Would I sign up with you? If you lie to yourself in the mirror, there's no hope. It's just you and yourself. Be honest with yourself. Would I sign up with me? When I was honest with myself, because the first time I lied to myself, I said, of course I would. Heck, I'm Brandon Ivey. I know this stuff. But then I thought about it. No, I wouldn't. So when you come up with your answer, the next question you need to ask yourself is, why not? What is it about you that you wouldn't sign up with you? Would you like to have you as a sponsor? I learned from a gentleman by the name of Tony Kupas. And I'm going to sidetrack for a moment here because I just had this thought. Tony Kupas and his twin brother Mike Kupas are co-owners of ACN. And I remember he was doing a private training with Mike Ashby and Byron Nelson and Chris Oliver, and he said, I could walk into a room and have conversations with people, and by the end of that, I already know who in this room is going to have success and who's going to fail. Just from my conversation with them. To the point now, I can just look at them and I can tell. What he's saying, he can feel their vibration. You ever heard that old saying, set yourself on fire and people will come just to watch you burn? He could feel their vibration. I didn't understand that then, but I understand it now. When I have conversations with people, I don't tell you this, but I already know how much success, what level of success you are going to have, and even if you're going to have success, period. I don't tell you that, but I know. Every single one of you I've had conversations with, I already know what your ceiling level is on success. That doesn't mean you don't have the potential. Every single one of you has the potential to go to the moon. Every single one. But mentally, I can tell where you're at. 2-minute conversation, I already know where you're at. I observe very well. I listen. You know that old saying, success leaves clues? You've got the 4 personality traits out there. You've got the whale, dolphin, shark, urchin. Do I have time to go into that tonight? What time is it? I may go into that. We'll hold that thought on the 4 different personality traits. But there are certain people that they will never take things in their own hands. They need somebody else to hold their hand. They need to have 1,000,001 questions answered before they move forward. They need to always find fault in something, or when one little thing doesn't go right, they're shaken, they're moved, they're quitting, they're doing this and that. They're always complaining, and they do so from this higher than thou mighty mentality of, I'm not the one, I can do this, I demand this. If I'm not getting this, I'm not doing this. I already know those type of people will never reach the top. They'll have a little bit of success. They never take ownership. One of the skills that I mastered, I don't care what I do, I take ownership of it. I act as if I'm the owner of the company. I'm the owner of this project. I'm the owner of this. And if it's going to be, it's not based on who's above me. It's not based on who's beside me. It's not even based on who's below me. The most important recruit you will ever have is you. Let's go back to you looking in the mirror. And you say, why would I not sign up with you? When you answer that question honestly, you know what you need to work on personally. What skills you need to develop yourself. One thing Andrea said that I agree with all the time, be the leader you would want to sign up with. It is 100% true. So when I looked at myself in the mirror, I said, what type of leader would I sign up with? That's who I want to be. There's an old network marketing book. I do not remember the name of this. I don't know if it's the most successful networker in the world. I think that's what it's called that I read. And it was about another guy who followed the most successful networker around the world already, just to see how he operates. I remember I was in Atlanta, Georgia. There was an event. It was a midnight training that took place. They used to do it back then. Afterwards, they all went to the Waffle House. Do you know what I did? I found out what Waffle House the top leaders were going to, and I went. And I remember with Montrell Jackson, his brother, I forgot the other people. When they sat down in the booth, I just slid on in the booth with them. And they were talking, and then they looked at me like, where'd this kid come from? And I was like, hey, don't mind me, I'm just a fly on the wall. And I could tell they were a little irked because they were ready to have their own private conversation. I did not care. I'm going to soak everything that I need to know. And so I remember Montreal said, ask any questions away. And I said, I want to know how you got to where you are. I don't want to hear, because tonight's training, he talked about what he does now. I want to know what you did at the beginning when you had no success, when nobody wanted to come and listen to you speak. I want to know about those days. And he sat back, he was like, wow, nobody really asked me that question before. Everybody loves to see the money. They love to see the house. They love to see the cars. They love to see his lifestyle. They love to hear about that because that puts them in dream mode. Because for you, you're thinking, what if I can have a life just like that? I can imagine my life just like that. But he's had so much success, he forgot his original story and stopped sharing it. I reminded him of that. So anyways, you're in the bathroom. What qualities of a leader does a leader have? Then you need to work on having those qualities. Become that person. Then what ends up happening, you start to attract people that have those qualities. You're vibrating on that same level as them. And then you start to develop a following because of it. I've been the top recruiter at everything I've done over the last 10 years, and I don't recruit. You have, all of you that I have signed you up. Did I ever go in your inbox and say, hey, I'm starting a new thing. You need to look at this program. You got to sign up. Stop what you're doing. Take 5 minutes. Look at this. And I've never done that. Have I ever picked up the phone and called you up and said, hey, listen, I got a new deal that I'm about to be a part of, blah, 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 blah. Never. Not in 10 years. So how the hell do I do it? Here's something else Dr. Miles Monroe said that I operate as. Uh-oh. Don't mess up on me, Facebook. You gotta be passionate about what you do. Because when you're passionate about what you do, it vibrates off of you and other people can pick up on that. It's real to them. You got to be excited about it. And then you got to talk about it. Not in a way that you're recruiting people. Why are you so excited about what you're doing? What is your story? Those of you that were on my presentation earlier, we talked, the whole premise of that company is the ability to share your story and your cause that others can relate to, that others want to help contribute to. That is one of the biggest keys to success in anything. What is your story? If you go to Eric Worre's GoPro event in Las Vegas, the one here on every 8-figure earner that gets up on that stage, they don't talk about their company, they don't talk about their product, they don't talk about themselves really. Well, some of them do, but they all share their story. It's universal. So no matter what company they're a part of, they're going to duplicate the same exact success. Develop your story. What is your problem? What problem are you trying to solve that whatever it is that you're doing is going to solve your problem? Because what other people think is the feel, felt, found. They're going to think, wow, if you found a solution to your problem, maybe your solution could be my solution. I can have people sign up with me and not even know the name of the company. Because it's not about the company. It's about our destination. It's about our journey. It's about where we're trying to go in life. What we want to accomplish. What type of lifestyle we want to have. Not because our product has the best CBD oil or has the best coffee or travel. None of that matters. What is it going to do for you? And what can it do for me? I do a crypto talk every day. I'm always talking. The problem is most of you never talk about your business outside I'm trying to recruit somebody. I'm not trying to recruit nobody. I'm just sharing what I'm excited about and I invite you along for the ride. That's how I do it. Put me in any company tomorrow. I'll be the #1 recruiter in 30 days. Without even knowing what the product is. I can sell tires on the side of a freeway, not to toot my own horn, but once you learn certain skill set and you understand the secrets, vibrations. Do you want to know what my biggest obstacle is now? And I shared this in my crypto talk this morning. See, in the early days, the biggest obstacle was I can't find nobody to sign up with me. I can't sell my product. I can't get customers. My biggest problem now is none of that. That's easy. My biggest problem is finding the right opportunity that I can be passionate about, where the owners, the corporate, won't screw it up. They can keep the wheels on the bus moving forward. That is my biggest problem, finding the right freaking company. Because once you do learn certain skill sets, no matter where you are in life, you are 60 days away from a complete turnaround. If I were to join something brand new right now, it will take 60 days to get back to $10,000 a month or more. The last 4 or 5 years, my biggest struggle is finding the right opportunity that's going to be here long enough to achieve that long-lasting success. Because the owners always find a way to screw things up, one way or another, due to no fault of my own. That's my biggest challenge today, which is why I learned something new. I'm not going to share it tonight, but I have a new philosophy moving forward on this new decade that we're moving into. Never have all your eggs in one basket. I'll just leave it at that. That's for another conversation. So, let me give you guys an exercise that you can do to train your brain to trick itself so that you can move on to the next level. You know what? Do I want to do the 4 personality traits? Whale, dolphin. Okay, I will share this real quick. Some of you learn by colors. I learned by, fish. Let me tell you what these are, and I'll ask you guys to let me know what you think my trait is. First, you have the whales personalities. There's only 4 main personalities. Whales are individuals out there that love to help people. They are not going to do anything unless it involves helping other individuals. It doesn't matter how much money they can make. If there ain't no helping nobody, they're not interested, even at the cost of money. Then you have dolphins, which are the people that don't care about money. They don't care about helping people. All they care about is having fun. If they help people and they make money, that's great. My god sister was a dolphin. When we were at ACN, she never understood the presentation. She never understood the products. All she knew was that she got to travel around the country with her brother, to go to different events, to see men dressed up in suits, smelling and looking good, because she just wanted to look at the men and party. That's why that's what motivated her. Then you have the sharks. Sharks are motivated by the power, the money, the prestige, the recognition. You talk to somebody about that, they're in. It ain't about trying to help people or having no fun. That's all secondary to them. It's about the power. Then you've got the urchins. I love you urchins, but you drive me freaking crazy. Urchins are the people that ask 1,000,001 irrelevant, time-wasting questions. They won't move a muscle until a stupid question is answered that has no bearing on anything, because they just feel smart by asking the question. They gotta know every single detail. I am so far the opposite of that. See, I'm the type of person, I'll figure it out as I go. If I make money, I'll figure out why I made money, and I'll just do more of that. But you got people out there, they will not lift an arm unless they get their questions. And what hurts me is they call me up and want me to know and answer all their stupid freaking questions. Sorry, I had a moment there. And I'm patient and I do it. But here's the thing about urchins. Once they get all their questions answered, once they're confident about what they're about to be involved in, that they want to put their name behind, they end up making the most money because they end up turning into sharks or a whale or a dolphin. Now, what do you guys who know me, what do you think my dominant trait is? Do you think I'm a whale, a shark, an urchin, or a dolphin? I want to look at some of these questions. I see Velma says she's a whale. Sue, a very important life-changing book was New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. I've heard of that book. Raymond says he's a whale and a dolphin. What do you guys think I am? You hear me speak all the time. What do you think my dominant trait is? Nobody has any guesses. Oh, there's a time delay on here. My cousin Marnita says I'm a whale. Interesting. Anybody else? Any guesses here? I'm proving a point here for a reason. I'll tell you an example. My mother would say I'm a whale. My father would say I'm an urchin. My brother would say I'm a dolphin. My wife would say I'm a shark. And a whale. Whale, shark, combo, whale, dolphin, and shark, urchin. A lot of times people who are whales would think I'm a whale. People who are urchins would think I'm an urchin. People who are sharks would think I'm a shark. People who are dolphins would think I'm a dolphin. That's by design. My dominant trait is shark. I'm a dead-on shark. But I also learned to have success, you must have and exhibit all of those qualities. Because if all I did was acted like a shark all day, I'm only going to attract sharks, which is only one portion of the population. But if I can relate to whales, if I can relate to dolphins, if I can relate to urchins, now I'm attracting all of them. So yes, I'm an urchin, a shark, a whale, and a dolphin. I love helping people. That's a fact. I love having fun. I love traveling. I love learning information. I don't need to have all the information to act, but I love learning about it. That's one thing my dad loved. My dad's like, Brandon's so full of information and knowledge and stuff. But my own family members see different traits with it. My brother says, if Brandon ain't having fun, he's not doing it. That's also true. I gotta have fun. I gotta enjoy what I'm doing. But my dominant trait is a shark. That's my dominant trait. So what is your trait? Are you, if I speak to a whale from a shark's perspective, I'm turning them off. If I speak to a dolphin from a whale's perspective, I'm turning them off. So when I speak, every time I do crypto talks or videos, whatever, I'm speaking in all languages. That's why I'm able to attract different segments. Does that make sense? Very briefly, feel, felt, found means, here's how people operate. People like to buy, they don't like to be sold. I don't sell anything. I advertise. And by advertising, you have the opportunity to buy it or not. Therefore, I never see rejection. I never get no's because I'm not asking you. By the time people come to me, they're ready to sign up. So I don't get rejections. I don't get no's. But here's how people operate and what you want to do with them. And I learned this from Chris Oliver. Feel, felt, found. When you talk to somebody, don't talk about you. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use it in that proportion. I ask a person, what is it that, what's going on in your life? And if you just shut up and listen, they'll spill the beans because they're not used to anybody asking because they don't think anybody cares. What's going on in your life? Is that where you want to be? Do you have any plan? Do you have a solution to do anything different? No, I don't. Really, I'm just going through the rat race. I'm going through the grind, trying to pay my bills. And I ask them a question. What would you do if all your bills were paid this month? What would you do? What? I don't know. I might go to Vegas. I might, buy a new TV, buy some cars. Really, what else would you do? Let me stop there because I'm jumping ahead. But let them talk. And then you said, you know what? I understand exactly where you're at right now because I felt the same way. I feel your pain. This is why Tony Robbins is so successful. He does The Secret and nobody even realizes he's doing it because he does what's called physiological. Change your physiology. I've been to his seminars. I walked on fire in Florida. And I recognized what he was doing. Change your physiology, meaning change your vibration. That's what he's doing, and you guys don't even realize it. I feel your pain. I feel where you're at. I felt the same way. You're not alone. I was there one time too. But what I found out was that if I did this, or I did do this, and now I feel something completely different, I'm in a better place because I did this. And you know what that person does? Wow, if you found a solution to your problem, maybe your solution can be my solution. And you know what the next question is? What is it that you do? How'd you do that? I'm glad you asked. This is what I do. That's how I recruit. That's how I invite. Because I don't even like the word recruit. Because I don't. I'm not a recruiter. I suck at recruiting. I'm excellent at building a team and leaders. It's a difference. Again, the mindset. All right, now let me end by giving you guys a something to do here. Here's two exercises. Number 1, for your mindset. What would you do? And do this before you go to sleep at night. Before you go to sleep tonight. Sit down, even pull out a piece of paper. What would you do if money was no longer an issue in your life? What does that mean? That means you have all the money that you've ever wanted. You can buy whatever you want. What would you do? It's like if you won the lottery. This should be easy because anytime the lotto gets over 200 million, everybody goes buy a lottery ticket and you start getting in dream mode. I remember when I was working a job and the lotto got real big for us back in those days in the 90s. A lotto, or the 2000s, we're talking about what, 75 million or so. And then we used to have office pools. So everybody in the office would put in so we could get like 200 tickets. And then I remember one day I was driving home. I had a very bad day. I was sick and tired of my job. And I was driving. I was like, man, if we won the lotto, do you know what I would do? And I went into dream mode. Now, kids dream all the time. Us adults, we don't dream anymore because we're stuck in what's called reality. We ain't got time for dreaming. It's all about reality. I got bills to pay. I ain't got time for none of that nonsense. But when the lotto comes up, we're in dream mode. And next thing I know, I pulled up at my house. And I snapped out of it, and I had no idea how I got there. And I'm like, did I run that red light? Did I stop at that stop sign? How did I get home? Because repetition, you've done it so often, you automatically do it even though my mind drifted on something else. Have you guys ever experienced that before? The same way goes with opportunity. Women, have you ever bought a brand new dress or some new shoes or a purse, and then you're walking down the street and you see all these other women with your same dress, your same purse, your same shoes? Fellas, have you ever bought a brand new car and you're driving down the freeway and all of a sudden you see everybody else, they got the same doggone car you got? Like, when did that happen? They were always there. You just were not focused to see until you focused. This is also part of the secret. I didn't go into detail on that part. Like, I can talk about this for a week. I am skimming over a whole lot right now. Because I got to break this down in layman's terms. But write down, what would you do if money was no longer an object? Start thinking about it. And I'm going to tell you what some of you are thinking. You know, I'm going to make it hard for you. Okay? You've already bought your home and your summer home. You bought grandma a house. You bought your cousins cars. You paid for all your kids' college education and some extended relatives. You went shopping in Paris, in New York, and Beverly Hills, Rodeo Drive. You went on a 6-month-long vacation to different beaches around the world. You bought all your cars and your vehicles and your toys and your big screen TV and your massaging lounge chair. You go golfing all the time. And you wake up a year later on a Monday morning at 10 a.m. because you don't have to go to work. And you have more money in the bank account than you did when you began this journey. What do you do with your day? Well, just think about this for a second. You've already spent. There's nothing else you can think of that you want to buy because you've already bought it. You've taken the vacations. What are you going to do with your day or the rest of your life? What God-given talent do you have that you haven't been able to pursue because you're stuck in the rat race of working a 9-to-5 job and you ain't got time to pursue it? What are you passionate about? What will you do with your life? This is something 90% of the people never even ask themselves. That was a wake-up call for me because I can buy my new car. Oh, Facebook, don't mess up on me. I never thought beyond that. This is why lottery winners go broke within 7 to 10 years. All the lottery that did for them was manifested who they already are and put it on overdrive. They never changed their mental state. So they never learned the skills to earn that type of income. And they are not good custodians to keep it. Again, what Miles Monroe says. Everything you have right now is what you are only able to manage. The reason why you don't have more is because you don't have the mindset to manage more in life. That was another breakout moment I had to have, an aha moment. It's like I did a video on YouTube. I was in the kitchen and I had 2 bottles of water. One jug was big and another was small. And you fill the small one up with water and it only can go so high. So that cup can only hold so much water. But all you're doing, you keep pouring water onto it because you want more, more, more. But the cup you have can't hold anymore. So that excess water spills over. And you're praying, Lord, give me more, give me more. And the Lord is, I am giving you more. You never grew to hold more. But you get yourself a bigger cup. And that bigger cup can hold more water. It can hold more of the blessings. It can hold more of what you're asking for. But you can't have more until you become more, which is why this is so important. I had to increase this before I can increase my wallet, so my wallet can handle it. And you never stop. I still have mental things I'm going through to get to the next level, to the next level, to the next level. So I'm stretching you here. What would you do with your life if money was no longer an issue? Period. Once you figure that out, that you don't need to make money to do it. Here's another reason why people can say, I don't understand why rich people get depressed. Why rich people commit suicide. What are they so unhappy about? They got all the freaking money in the world. They can go wherever they want. They could do whatever they want. They could buy whatever they want. What in the world are they crying about? Why are they depressed? Because it has nothing to do with money. All money did was eliminated their distraction. What is a distraction? Having to work a 9-to-5 job to pay your bills. Because you're doing that 60 to 80 hours a week. That's taking up all your time. You don't have time to think about nothing else. But what if you eliminate all that? Now you got all the time in the world to think about what of a crap person you are. How you are not fully developed yet. How you are not whole yet. Well, you have a lot you got to work on. That's a tough pill for a lot of people to swallow. Dealing with your own issues. So, once you figure out what it is that you want, and only you can do this. And it ain't, if you're still stuck on, oh, I'm just going to take vacations for the rest of my life. No, you're not. Because that's what all rich people would do. But why is it that they don't? Once you get that out of your system, what are you going to do? Here's the most important part of this step. How does it make you feel? How does it make you feel? Because you're going to be vibrating at this level. Hold the feeling of it, not the thoughts of what it is that you want. Hold how does it make you feel to attain the things that you want, and then go to sleep. Because when you go to sleep, your consciousness is asleep. Your subconscious is still wide awake. It's moving, it's working things out. It is doing what it's programmed to do. What was the last, how many of you guys have ever had dreams and it was like the last thought you had before you went to sleep? I used to play with this when I first figured this out, and I used to, before I went to sleep, I would focus intently on certain things, problems for my brain to solve, and I would wake up in the morning and try to remember what my dream was about, or I would have answers that I didn't have the night before. That's what they call the phrase, sleep on it. You ever wonder where that came from? Let me sleep on it. Let your subconscious go to work for you. It never shuts off, and it's vibrating. Now, when you do this for the first time, you got a little bitty vibration going on here. Because you're going to have to retrain the neurons in your brain. They right now is so thick of all your negativity and your bad stinking thinking is so thick. That's the neurons that it's easy to have a bad thought. It's easy to be negative. It's easy to complain about something. I sit back and I watch phone calls I get from people complaining. I'm like, I expected to get that call from you. I don't tell them this. But I expected it. I knew if I'm doing something new and they get involved, they're going to be the first to call and complain about something. They're going to be the first to always have an issue. I just know it. I can predict it. And they never disappoint. It's some of you. Like I said, I've got a lot of you pegged and you don't even know it. I know where your ceiling is at. I can't change your ceiling. Only you can. So, once you go to sleep, when you wake up in the morning, how do you feel? You should feel a little better than when you went to sleep, because most people are going to sleep with worry. They're going to sleep thinking about these bills, this problem, this issue, that issue, that issue. You go to sleep, you wake up, your subconscious was thinking and vibrating on that for the last 5 to 8 hours. You wake up feeling horrible. You feel drained. You feel tired. You feel like you got no rest. You feel like here goes another day of hopelessness. And you're attracting more of that to you all day. We got to change that physiology. You got to wake up feeling good, feeling better, even for a brief moment. Hold that feeling. Do this exercise again at lunchtime. Do it again before you go to sleep. Do it when you wake up in the morning. And when you start doing this, you'll be doing it automatically without having to think about it. Now you're changing those neurons in your brain to have more positive, more joyful things, being thankful and grateful for what you have and not for being upset for the things you don't have. Being able to manage where you're at, because if you can't manage where you're at, you can't be given more to manage something else that you're not qualified to manage, which is why I say this information I'm training, I only do once a year, because most of you are not qualified to get this information. It's not going to go, it's going to sound good and great, but you're not going to do anything with it. Some of you will, and you'll be like me 10 years ago when I had my aha moment, even though I've been hearing it for 10 years before. Took me 10 years to finally get it. That's the secret. It's the laws of the universe. It has to happen. It has to. It's not a choice or a may it happen. It has to happen, because like gravity, you drop a bottle of water, it's going to drop. It's gravity. My opinion is irrelevant on this. It doesn't matter if you believe in the secret or the laws of the universe. That's irrelevant. It is the way it is. Those of you that's coming on late, as I'm about to end, go back and watch this from the beginning. But I will say this. As I'm going to close by saying, as we now enter a new decade, a new year, brush off your shoulders 2019. It's gone. It's history. It's a learning experience. Plan out your goals or where you want to be by the end of 2020. Don't worry about how you're going to get there, but think about where you want to be. How does it make you feel to achieve that goal? Capture that feeling that it is already there. It is already conquered. It is already God-given. It is your right to have what you desire. How does that make you feel? Hold on to that. Because the vehicles that you're going to be going through the new year may change, but that goal remains the same. That's something I had to learn over the last couple of years, because I like to plan. I've already got the first 6 months laid out. And what's tripped me up, and this is what I learned in 2019. You can go back to my talk I did 1 year ago. Bethany, a lot of you were on it, where I said a lot of times we may end the year not where we started. But I've got a plan, and this is the plan, and these are the steps. We thought economics was going to be the deal. We thought it was going to be the thing that's going to make it happen, and the doggone thing never launched. And I made the mistake of holding on way too long when it wasn't its time yet. Doesn't mean it was bad, it just wasn't its time yet. So I have a new philosophy now, going into 2020. I'm not concerned about the vehicle. I'm not worried about how I'm going to get there. I'm having the end goal in mind. You know, I got to go back and watch my own video I made called, it's called Focus on the Goal and Not the Task. Go to YouTube, type in Focus on the Goal and Not the Task, Brandon Ivey. I need to watch my own video again. Keep my focus on the goal and vibrate to that. And the universe will present things to me to allow my goal to be a reality. I just have to have an open mind to know what to take and to see it when it comes my way. That's something new for me in this stage of my career. Focus on the goal, not the task. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's enough for this secret. I do this once a year, and going into 2020, I don't know what 2020 is going to bring. I don't know what challenges it's going to be in front of you. I don't know what trial and tribulations that each of us are going to have to face. What I do know is that we will face them. We will have challenges and tribulations. Things will not go according to plan. But with the right mindset, you're going to be able to overcome each of those obstacles. You're going to be able to keep moving forward. You're going to learn from each obstacle, because that is how you grow. How do you grow muscles? By resistance. The more resistance you put, the more your muscles grow. You want to become a better leader, you're going to have to go through the challenges that leaders go through. You want to make more money, you're going to have to go through the obstacles that other people that are making more money had to go through. You want more out of life, you're going to have to step out of your comfort zone and do things that you're not comfortable doing, like I am right now. I do not like being in front of the camera. It throws me off. I don't like looking at myself. But I got to do it if I want to move to the next level. Always be thankful for what you have. There are people who didn't make it this far. And there's always somebody that wishes they have the life you have right now, because theirs is worse. Never equate your life compared to what somebody else's success is. That's their success. You have no idea what's going on in their life behind the scenes. Don't believe Facebook. Don't believe YouTube. Don't believe Twitter. Everybody's going through something. Everybody. Some of you guys think you wouldn't have my life. No, you don't. You have no idea the things that I have to go through, the things that I deal with, or what my mental mindset could be at any given time. It is not for you to have. You need to focus on you, yours, your growth, and your development. And the best way to help everybody else is the ability to help yourself. Because if other people could see that you did it, then they have a belief that they can. That goes back to the core thesis of The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. With that, Happy New Year, everybody. I hope you learned something new. As always, that is the point. I did this for myself as much as I did it for you, because I needed to hear this as well. The information that I am sharing, that I shared tonight, is not my own. This is not something that I made up. This is stuff that I learned, and I'm only sharing it through my own words. So I needed to hear this for myself as well as we prepare for 2020. And I wish you all the best. Good night, everybody. Happy New Year if I don't hear from you again. Let's get it. Brandon Ivey out.